It's Eastside Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is just Tuesday, December 13th. Yeah. It's over.
Injury bug.
My team, for the final time this year, told me to stick it. And it's over. It was already over. Joe, maybe a little worried heading into the playoffs.
I'm very worried.
We'll get a little playoff preview. Joe left a lot of points on the bench this week. Now, I don't know if anyone would have started
78.
But, oh, man. Now, if everybody doesn't know, Joe's a nice working man. He works at a school, and every day he gives me a nice Snapchat before we're about to record and says, I'm in the bus loop. And I just like to think sometimes that Joe's thinking about fantasy while he's helping the kids get to the bus loop.
Well, usually when I go out, I do the carpool thing. Usually when I go out, I have a few minutes until the first group comes out, and I'll usually just pull out my phone, pull up fantasy because I don't get to look at it during the day. I do look forward to Mondays because today's Monday we're recording. I look forward to at lunch on Monday. The projections for the following week are always out. Oh. So that's always a big thing. Going out, finally getting to look at fantasy. 12:25 comes around, lunchtime, look at fantasy. But I've been hit with the injury bug at the worst possible time. I know that I'm talking to somebody that has been hit with it quite hard as well this year. Neither one of the timings are good at the start of the season, at the end of the season. Neither one are good, but yeah, I just have to sigh at what's kind of going on. We're going to get into a decent amount of the guys that I'm talking about in this news, so let's hop right into it.
I know what you guys are thinking. Yes, I'm going to make the playoffs in both my other leagues. So let's get on to the news. So Tyler Huntley, I just put them together. Thought we could group it together because what a game.
Why not?
Tyler Huntley and Kenny Pickett both in concussion protocol. John Harbaugh said he had no update on Lamar. I think this is the second time Kenny Pickett's been in concussion protocol this year. Didn't he have a little
I think so.
Trouble in the year? Tyler Huntley took a shot. That was just a bad play call. Kenny Pickett's was more like the Tua, where he just kind of was tackled and kind of like trying to fight away from it and
slammed his head pretty good.
Slamming his head on the back of
it.
Turf. So, John Harbaugh was talking about Huntley. These coaches have no idea. When it comes to a concussion, it's just you're either going to get out of it or not.
But it's been different this year. For the most part, it seems like since the Tua thing, if you have a concussion, you are missing the next week at the bare minimum, is what it seems like to me.
Which is rough.
Yes.
Because I'll let you know right now, the Ravens play on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just already a shorter week. Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah. So, by the way, the backup's Anthony Brown. Ever heard of him?
Nope.
Yeah, neither did I. Didn't even think he was the backup. I thought it was Brent Hundley, but he's a nice college boy at Boston College. He went to Oregon last year. Go Ducks!
Go Ducks.
Yeah, so that's the quarterback situation there. Obviously, Pittsburgh has, what's his name? Good old Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky, yeah.
Who moves the ball well, but throws a lot of interceptions.
This is just a not fantasy, purely NFL. Correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously you guys have gotten away with a couple of sneaky wins because you guys beat the Steelers, correct?
We did. We won.
That's what I thought. So you guys have gotten away with a couple of gross wins these past couple of weeks. Obviously, some injuries, some key players like Lamar Jackson. Are you feeling any kind of good about the Baltimore Ravens as a whole right now?
No, and I seem to be the only one who wasn't feeling good yesterday on the post-game show, and I was trying to tell these people. You want to know something? Because I did all this information searching. The Ravens, in their cap spending, have spent $40 million, which is first in the National Football League. The cap, by the way, is $208 million. $40 million of that $208 million is in defensive backs. That's first in the league by a good amount. Yikes. They are dead last, 32nd in wide receiver spending. $3.3 million goes towards wide receivers. And it just annoys the fuck out of me because, you can see where the league's going. You need a wide receiver. And running backs, you don't have to pay. And we're top whatever in running backs. I don't care. We're not paying them that much. It's $16 million. But I just don't understand. They don't pay the defensive line. They pay the secondary, which is just not the formula. And they don't pay wide receivers. And there's no option to throw the football. There is no reason that Lamar Jackson can't be doing the same thing Jalen Hurts is doing. Do you disagree with that?
No, I definitely hear you. I think it's just as crazy as it seems. When they traded Hollywood to Arizona, I know that you definitely were a fan of that, but I think we all expected the
one of those draft picks to be a wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when it wasn't,
not a single draft pick, you would have at least expected them to go to free agency and find
Yeah.
somebody. But nothing has
trade.
happened. Yeah.
nothing. And
So-
I even said it. This is becoming a Ravens fan. I even said it in the beginning of the year. They did all this stuff, and I like the draft picks and whatever. I'm surprised they used all 11. I thought that was kind of a mistake. Go get an impact player.
Well, their first round draft pick, you know who it is, obviously, defensive back. As funny as that
You
is.
talking about Hamilton? Yeah.
Well,
I know.
yeah, I was just saying, just because you were talking about how much money they already spend on the defensive backs, and then first round pick Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, they have. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. And oh, by the way, we also signed Kyle Fuller, who was playing well. He tore his ACL in the first game, so that would have been another guy.
Yeah.
They have like 7 defensive backs that could be starters for any other team. Coming into the season, their big problem is they didn't have a linebacker and they had no wide receivers. I love Rashad Bateman.
They got the
you can
linebacker.
I know. Well, so that's the thing. They ended up getting him because they realized it was a problem. But they still don't have a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And Rashad Bateman showed promise. You could watch film on. He looks good. But to come into the season, and like the Ravens they're a favorite. Like this is a window where like you should be going after it right now. To come into the season with Rashad Bateman, an unproven rookie, or a second-year guy who missed a lot of his rookie season as your only real solid option, was a mistake. And they're going to pay for it. I think they'll make the playoffs, but no, I don't see this team. They're going to have to throw the ball at some point.
You would assume, and that has been a thing that hasn't happened in Baltimore. But
Damian Pierce hurt his ankle.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see this. I don't know if you did.
I didn't either. I just see the update that says he was seen limping in the locker room after the game.
I think they said he was considered day-to-day.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
Mike White, day-to-day with ribs, expected to start. So
Got
I just kept getting
decked
notifications that he was getting blasted.
He
Came out
was.
twice. Flacco came in. Saw a highlight from Flacco that he fumbled, so that was good.
Yep.
Pretty funny, though, that they still don't have Zach Wilson active, so he just kind of sits over there in the hoodie, the sweatsuit, and that's just how life goes, I guess. But so I listen to a lot of New York radio. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for all the people who are like,
I mean, I
The
can't assume
Hawkos?
Zach Wilson's going to be.
no. I can't speak for all the talk hosts because they kind of have mixed opinions. But the fans in New York who call in do not want to see Zach Wilson. Even Mike White, like the 2 losses they just had, they want him out there.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really give an argument for Zach Wilson, obviously. I mean, Zach Wilson did beat the Bills the last time they played, but I wouldn't sit here and say that Zach Wilson is or should be the starter going forward, especially with this team fighting for playoff spots, because clearly the offense just runs better when they're passing the ball and mixing in the run and not just focusing on Breece Hall, which kind of was the thing when Zach Wilson was playing and they were looking good. Breece Hall was the offense. And now
You know
they're
they
able
got
to
now?
bam.
Bam.
But yeah, don't need to stick on this too long, but Zach Wilson, no. If anything, I think it'll be Flacco if Mike White can't play.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Bam Knight, excuse me. He's making a little roster spot for himself. I think he's going to be.
is.
I mean, Michael Carter next year. You're hoping Breece Hall comes back and is healthy and is the starter, but Michael Carter could be not even drafted next year.
Yeah, no doubt.
DJ Moore got an MRI at his ankle. I just saw the update. They said it was nothing major.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere.
Well,
I didn't know that this had happened during the
I
game.
think he had 6 points.
Yeah, he didn't do anything,
Played over 90% of the snaps.
which is
The
funny
game where
'cause
the Panthers
had a
scored a
good
lot.
offensive day. Yeah, DJ Moore's not involved.
So there's, I mean, we can talk about it later, but this is crunch time. This is playoffs for a lot of people coming up now. DJ Moore, I mean, he's
Nah.
not going to be played. You cannot
No.
play him in playoff games. Tyler Boyd dislocated his finger. I think this was like the first drive or like pretty early on. He slammed his helmet through
Both
his
of-
glove.
Both of these Bengals wide receivers were early on, first quarter, I believe.
You're going to be pissed about the T. Higgins one because I found some information.
Oh God,
Uh,
he could have went back in or something.
It's, well, you'll see what I mean.
I
So
mean,
Tyler Boyd
okay.
is expected to miss a week or two, but then today Zach Taylor called him day to day. He's gonna miss time. T. Higgins hamstring day to day. So remember he hurt his hamstring coming in. Like
Yeah.
there was a little question.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he aggravated it in pregame warmups and it just wasn't reported.
Solid,
So he could have been pulled out of lineups.
solid. That is good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty shady stuff from Cincinnati.
Well, I don't even think I had an opportunity to play anybody else. I don't think I had another wide receiver. I could have played Deontay. I take that back. He's the only other healthy. I had Cortland Sutton and Nico Collins as well. and they both did not play. But yeah,
Russell
I'm just
Wilson.
hoping that the T. Higgins thing is
Minor.
yeah, because I really need him to be in the lineup.
He's got the Bucks coming up.
Yep.
Russell Wilson played a damn good game for the first time all year, and
Yeah, he
then
did.
the shot of his face on the ground when he went down, he was seeing stars.
Deserving.
See that big knot on his head?
He deserved it.
Okay, he's in concussion protocol. He's not feeling too good. I don't know if he knows where he is, but yeah, possibly Brett Rippon. A lot of concussion
Let's
protocols.
ride.
Debo Samuel grabbed at his knee, but I think they're saying it's a high ankle. I said it wasn't major, but high ankle is going to get him done for.
He's gonna miss a couple weeks for
He's
sure.
done for the fantasy season.
Yeah, I would only assume so.
Here's a nice one. Cowboys signed T.Y. Hilton today, Joe. How about that? T.Y.
T.Y. You can't see it, but I was hitting the TY. Don't worry.
Hayden Hurst still week to week.
Who cares?
Jeff Wilson left the game with a hip injury,
Yep.
which pretty much
The
put a
fill-in
nice
for
big,
Kenneth Walker.
put a nice big exclamation point on Joe's week.
Yeah, no kidding. Ramondre Stevenson may score 40 points to give me the win. But like I was telling you before we started recording, like I've told other people that I've talked to about this, like when just texting guys, I didn't necessarily care. Even last week, I told Sam Smith I didn't necessarily care about a win or loss because I was pretty confident Derek was going to be able to hold on to the 2 spot. So I knew I was in the playoffs. Didn't really matter. But the thing that I was most worried about is what is going wrong. Is that I now have 5 players on my active roster, 4 of them that are weekly starters that are injured. And I don't know what is going to happen with most of these guys. A couple of them did not play this week. And then the other 2, Jeff Wilson and T. Higgins, both got hurt during this game, obviously. So, Soup, things are looking good for you, which I'm assuming that's who I'm going to be playing. Little spoiler.
Oh, my arm. I think it's broken.
In the playoffs, so we'll see what happens. But just the worst possible case scenario is kind of happening to me right at the worst time.
I'll tell you, Jackson was not happy because with everything that shakes out, Soup now moves to his side of the bracket.
Yeah, I know. He was texting me about that.
Well, that was the news, Joe.
Yeah.
Let's get into the irrelevant TDs of the week.
Yeah,
There's a
you
lot
got
of them.
Fat list here, so go ahead and hit these.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Trent Irwin from Cincinnati, 0.1% of leagues. We know that guy. He's always
Yeah, we
around.
do.
We finally scored. Soft spot here for me. Amari Rodgers. Clemson, man.
Solid.
Remember he used to be a Packer. Well, he was cut. Now he's in Houston. He scored 0.1. Minnesota's KJ Osborne, 2.7. Detroit's Justin Jackson, 1.1. Baffling stuff.
This one pissed me off. When I
Baffling
watched
stuff
this,
going
pissed
on
me
in
off.
Detroit. Just, I guess we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Tennessee's Chigakonkwo, the second time on the list, a Titan here at 4.3%.
That number is going up after this because this is back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
There's been talks from the coaching staff about getting him more involved. He looks good. If you were watching Red Zone, you saw these catches and you saw the touchdown. He looks good when he catches the ball. He's a rookie. Things are looking on the up, and they don't have wide receivers.
No,
they have Treylon Burks, who will probably be back next week, but still, they don't have wide receivers, and they leaned on Chig these last 2 weeks, to be honest, in the passing game.
Another Titan, Nick Westbrook-Akine, 1.5%. Second time this year. Richie James scored for the Giants, 0.9. Isaiah Hodgins.
Could that be his third time, Richie James? Feel like it might be his third touchdown.
Second.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Isaiah Hodgins scored. This is back-to-back weeks for him.
Yep.
So, honestly, I could see him going up because the Giants really don't have a lot in that passing game.
Yeah.
They got a big matchup coming up. Is that this week coming up with the
Commanders?
Yeah, one of those teams is going to have to go to the playoffs.
Yep.
Unless they both don't
We
win.
both could. We both could.
Yeah.
Seattle lost too. Bumped us both up. Washington didn't even play, and they bumped up 2 playoff spots.
How about that?
I know.
Philadelphia, Boston Scott, 1.3. In Denver, here's
This was a
blast
crazy
from
play.
the past. Marlon Mack, 0.2% of leagues.
Soup thought he killed him. Yeah, right, buddy. He's alive. I don't know if you saw this play, but it was like a broken little dump off. And he took it to the house, but on the 15-yard line, he started stumbling. And
I know.
Stumbled all the
yeah.
way into the end zone and fell right at the last second. I could not believe it. I thought he was going to Daniel Jones it and just end up on the ground inside the 5. But he stayed on his feet, fell into the end zone. Good for Marlon Mack. Why not?
There's some names coming up here. Tampa Bay, Russell Gage, 1%.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tampa. I guess we can talk about it
Stinks.
later. but Mike Evans is brutal.
Yeah.
And then I saw one play while I was working where I thought Mike Evans caught a long touchdown pass where it was like a broken play, and it got called back on holding.
Yep.
That was his
I
day.
saw that as well.
Seattle Marquise Goodwin. I thought he would have been picked up in a lot more leagues, 0.8. And then to finish it off, two Carolina Panthers. Shy Smith, 0.1, and Raheem Blackshear, 0.6. Dynamite stuff.
Oopie.
Let's highlight some good stuff. How about the soups of the week, Joe?
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, this first guy rotting on my
boy.
bench at the moment. I did indeed have. I mean, I could have made. You could make a case that I should have started Evan Ingram, but at the same time, I started Tyler Higbee. Blah blah blah. But Evan Ingram, 40 point something in our league, I believe. 40.2 fantasy points in our league with 2 touchdowns, fucking 11 catches on 162 yards, and then the other guy, who we'll talk about in the quarterbacks, obviously, Trevor Lawrence. That was where my 78 points came from or something like that. Jerick McKinnon, Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, Miles Sanders, Christian McCaffrey. That's our little bulk of guys that hit over the 30-point mark. Jerick McKinnon, wide receiver 1 numbers in the running back position.
So he had 3, right?
I think he
three
had
tutties?
2.
I know Judy had 3.
Yeah, Judy had 3.
Thank God Judy. By the way,
Justin
Judy was
Jefferson
on,
had 0 and still makes
he set a
200 yards.
single game record for receiving yards for a Vikings player. Jerry Jeudy was on my bench in this league, and Miles Sanders was on my bench in another league.
Oof, that's brutal.
But I still might win in that league. So
Christian McCaffrey, don't you have McCaffrey in the league?
Oh, I started him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't sit him, but Jerick McKinnon had 2 touchdowns. Jefferson had 0. Jerry Jeudy 3, Miles Sanders 2, Christian McCaffrey only 1, I believe. I believe he had a
He had one through
touchdown.
the air and 1 on the ground.
Gotcha.
Jerry Jeudy, by the way, I couldn't believe it. He bumped the ref.
Did
you
he
see that? He was getting
No.
pissed. He bumped the ref. I think stayed in the game.
No, I did not see that, but
A little fiery.
This next guy is back, that's for sure, especially when your wide receiver 2 and 3 go out in a game. Jamar Chase is going
Your
to
tight
get
end's
it done.
not there.
Yeah, Jamar Chase is going to get it done either way, but that obviously helps. Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams is back, found the end zone. Tyreek Hill is just good for it every week. That crazy fumble, scoop, and score. If any other player on that team, except for probably Jalen Waddle, will be the only other guy that takes that to the house because of his speed. But it's just Tyreek Hill picks up the ball and just runs away from everybody.
Yeah,
It's just
it was
crazy.
hilarious.
It was.
I think everybody in the world had the same thought too. As soon as that ball kicked out and you saw him pick it up, you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, he's gone.
Everyone was right there in that scrum.
Yep, it was crazy how it just kicked out like that. But Mike Williams also looked fantastic in that Sunday Night Football game. Multiple like one-on-one catches with vintage Mike Williams, got the touchdown. Austin Eckler, as good as anyone to get on this list every week. Chris Moore filled in for Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks missing. A quarterback roulette, some would call, in Houston.
What's going on there.
It was very strange, but they were able to put it to Dallas, which was very shocking.
And still lose to save their great
Yep.
chances for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, exactly. Dudu Sniff Poopster, he found his way on this list. I really hated that touchdown that he had. That really hurt me in one of my other leagues. DJ Chark with a bomb touchdown from Jared Goff, who was just slinging it against Minnesota. Vegas knows something, obviously. So that line that we were talking about with Detroit being favored, I guess it just made sense because Vegas knows things. Tony Pollard, 2 touchdowns, looked great. Zay Jones, another big week for Zay Jones against Tennessee. Derrick Henry, when you see Derrick Henry against Jacksonville or against Houston, you know things are going to happen. Derrick Henry had, even though he really got shut down after the first quarter, he had like 106 yards and a touchdown after the first quarter. Keenan Allen had like 12 catches, I believe. Donovan Peoples-Jones had another great week. I mean, this guy just gets double digits every single week. This time found over 20. And Marquise Goodwin round out our soups of the week. Yeah, a lot of guys that should have been in lineup, so that's definitely good. You hate when you see a lot of names that could be out of lineups. I guess the only couple you could maybe think here would be Chris Moore and Marquise Goodwin, obviously. Probably weren't in lineups.
DJ Clark.
Oh, yeah, DJ Clark, shout out Manzoni. Never forget, Patrick Mahomes was traded for DJ Clark and Raheem Monster.
Yep.
Yeah, Raheem Monster and DJ Clark.
Absolutely
got me Patrick Mahomes in the championship run I had 2 years ago.
I guess he'll be mentioned in the matchup preview, but I should give a shout out to Jameson Williams.
Yep, that was awesome. That was really
he got
cool.
his first career catch and caught a touchdown pass.
Yep.
Just going with the Lions.
Yeah, no doubt. Trevor Lawrence, number one quarterback on the week, just had a bomb day, sitting on my bench as well. But I wasn't going to be starting him. Jalen Hurts just gets it done. He will get you 30 fantasy points. Jared Goff slinging all over the place. Even Kirk Cousins in a loss. I think he threw over for 400 yards, didn't he?
Well, I think 200 of them went to Justin
Yeah,
Jefferson, like
two
226 of them.
200 some yards to Justin Jefferson and Russell Wilson. Look at you.
Mm.
I think this is the second time he's been on this list all year. Last time
Mm.
was like week 5 or 6 when they played the Raiders. I know he had
Yeah.
like 20 some fantasy points. So he still deserved it, that big hit, but that's just me throwing out old hatred
Oh,
for the beginning of the season that Russell Wilson caused me. And then we have some duds.
I hate you.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
This is usually where Russell Wilson finds himself, but not this week. The Tylers of the week, Deontay Foreman.
Oh,
I mean, in a game that the Carolina Panthers were handling the Seattle Seahawks, you would have assumed that this would not be the case.
well, here's the best part is when he does he had a lot of yards, like a decent amount of yards.
But he just doesn't always get in the end zone. That's the problem.
Well, when he gets you all the way down to the 1 yard line and they bring Chuba Hubbard in twice to
Yeah.
punch it in, that's a real punch in the face. Or actually, Blackshear did one time. It was Hubbard, then
Yeah.
Blackshear.
Playing Chuba Hubbard, of course. Again,
Yeah.
Atkins had him plugged in. Christian Kirk, Saquon Barkley, and Latavius Murray, the next few here. Christian Kirk just kind of didn't get involved. Zay Jones and Evan Ingram did all the work. Saquon Barkley, I didn't really see a whole lot of running from the Giants, so I don't really know Barkley's stat line, but I know that the game script was just against him.
I think they were trying to be cautious with him with the neck. And then when it became a blowout, I think they were just like, we're going to pull him.
Definitely makes sense there. Latavius Murray, that game got out of hand quick too, which led to Russell slinging the ball to Jerry Jeudy.
Marlon
3
Mack.
touchdowns there, and Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
Josh Palmer. I mean, the Chargers'
The two
offense
guys are
is
back.
getting healthier, so I don't really put this on Josh Palmer. He's just the third/4th option if you include Gerald Everett now. So
I think if everyone's back, he just becomes a matchup-based flex.
Yeah, who can be flexed if necessary. Devin Singletary, Buffalo Bills offense was not getting it done. Cam Akers, we already mentioned.
Cam
Mike
Akers scored a
Evans
touchdown.
Cam Akers did score a touchdown. That's one of the classic touchdowns, still single digits. He also
Mhm.
fumbled. Mike Evans had the bomb touchdown that got called back. He's just not been getting it done. I know Jason from the Fantasy Footballers traded for him the week before. Mike Evans has turned into an absolute dud. Mark Andrews, the passing game in Baltimore, we talked about it a lot earlier.
Jesus, dude.
Gerald Everett didn't kill you. He's a tight end, but also didn't have a good day. I think he only had like 4 for 30 or something like that in the air. Jamal Williams, no running back got it done unless your name was Justin Jackson, even though he barely got over 10 fantasy points in Detroit. Raheem Monster, he did not get it done. Even with Jeff Wilson going out, Miami could not run against a terrible running defense in LA for the Chargers. Kareem Hunt, he's probably not even getting started, but he did get started in our league, so I guess that makes sense why he's on this list this time. George Kittle, Brock Purdy, George Kittle. I don't know if there's some beef going on there, but
I mean, they don't like each other.
doesn't seem to really look out for him too much. James Cook, just another Buffalo player that didn't get it done.
That was my start of the week.
Travis Etienne could not get it done against a stout Tennessee rush defense. DeAndre Swift, just like we said with Jamal Williams, same deal there. CeeDee Lamb, Dallas' defense was weird. Passing game did not really get anybody involved. I think Dalton Schultz had a decent day. That's really it.
The running backs got it done.
Yeah, so
I mean, didn't he? I think he just missed. Well, we talked about Pollard, but he just missed. I think he was like a point short of making Soup of the Week. But Zeke had a nice day.
Yeah, for sure. They both had good days on the ground. DJ Moore talked about it. Didn't even hit one fantasy point. Jeff Wilson got injured. Stephon Diggs.
You skipped over some names there, bud.
Did I?
Why don't you give Gabe Davis and Nick Chubb a bashing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Gabe Davis. I mean, just another every Buffalo player is on this list. Nick Chubb. They look terrible. Back-to-back weeks with Deshaun Watson, and they look terrible. It's like the run game just all of a sudden stopped when Deshaun Watson is the quarterback. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, he started playing quarterback, and they were like, you know what? Fuck this. We're not blocking anymore.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like the freaking longest yard when they're just not going to block. They're just going to let the quarterback die. Sorry for those two guys, but Stephon Diggs,
Weird.
This one hurts. It's weird. It was a weird game with the weather. Just the Jets do have a solid defense, but Stephon Diggs, the first time all season he has been in the single digits.
Mm.
And I needed him in multiple leagues for a playoff thing. So that one definitely hurt a little bit there. Although, yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's just a weird one. Just a weird one for Diggs there. T. Higgins obviously got injured. Tyler Higbee, he's about to get dropped if anybody wants him.
That's why I put the star on my. So I
he's
went
getting
to some
fucking
people's.
dropped.
When I do this, I usually go and I'll look at the bench and I'll be like, well, like there's probably someone on here. Like I think Raheem Mostert wasn't started in our league, but he's probably started in a decent amount of leagues, and
Yeah.
he sucked.
Yeah.
Higbee, he was started in our league, but I was like, how many people are actually playing him at this point? And I know you're not going to have him anymore.
Yeah. No. He's getting dropped. I can't believe how that trade turned out with Matthew Stafford being out for the season after that. And now obviously Baker, but even Baker in any other team he's been on, Cleveland or Carolina, he has never had a tight end that has been like a focal option for him. So I'm not really seeing that becoming anything there. Dalvin Cook, this game got out of hand. The Lions just spanked the Vikings, so Dalvin Cook was not getting involved too heavy there. Jalen Waddle, took a long time for Jalen Waddle to get his first catch, and to my knowledge, he was out on the field. He wasn't limited in any capacity. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but I didn't see him limited. I saw him out there for most of it. And Amari Cooper finds his way on this list as always, even though I believe the first pass of the game was to Amari Cooper for like 20 yards. And
really it really helped me. I'm down by 7 in another league. That guy's done. I have James Conner. I feel good about it. But coming down to the wire, I was seeing stuff. Amari Cooper was possibly on a snap count. And I was just like, it's either Amari Cooper or Mike Williams. And I was like, I know Mike Williams. He's off the injury report, but like, you know what happens sometimes, Mike Williams. But then in my head, I was like, Amari Cooper, every reason is telling me no. I haven't seen it with Deshaun. It's a road game, and he might be on a snap count. I got to put Mike in, and he really ended up helping me out. Good job, me.
Solid. It's a great play there. Bottom 5 quarterbacks, Tom Brady, just don't know what's going on there. Tua finds his way on here. That offense just didn't really get it done against the Chargers. Deshaun Watson, back-to-back weeks on this list in his 2 starts. Dak Prescott, passing game was nothing. We already mentioned that. And Joe Burrow, who I think only had 1 touchdown pass. I mean, he had a
it was a good week for quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was. But he also had, just from the NFL standpoint, he had a good day, especially with weapons going down. It didn't really turn into much for fantasy there. And that wraps up our Tylers of the week. Yeah, I mean,
well, let's
you hate to see such a giant Tylers of the week list and such a small Soups of the week, but that seems to be how it's going.
Let's quickly jump into the fantasy matchup recap. I think pretty much all the games are. There's a couple of games that aren't final, but pretty much all the results are in, and we can maybe put a little playoff picture together.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely get that. I can get that out on the Twitter too. I mean, the only matchup that has a greater than 2% chance is mine in Atkins. So I'll start there, which is Atkins is looking to beat me here. I'm chasing 30 something, and I only have Ramondre Stevenson playing tonight. Atkins at 126. I'm at 93. Atkins highlighted by Jamar Chase and Geno Smith. Those are his 2 big guys on the week. Chuba Hubbard also a good fill in there with some bye weeks for him. And then I'm highlighted by Josie Jewell, and that's about it. Josie Jewell with 2 interceptions and 10 tackles, 22 fantasy points.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I mean, Zeke got it done for me. He did find the end zone at the end of the game. He continues to get 15 plus fantasy points for the last month and a half, but it's really it. Jeff Wilson got hurt. Stephon Diggs had a dud. T. Higgins got hurt as well. And that really wraps up my regular season right there, which stinks. The next matchup, so just to clarify, that'll drop me as long as I lose, which I'm assuming. So that'll drop me to 8-6. That'll put Atkins at 8-6. He'll have the tiebreaker against me, so he'll hop up in the rankings there. Spano and Bryce. Spano, he's not going to lose the league. He's not going to make the playoffs. He's going to drop to 5-9 after losing to Bryce. Bryce is not going to lose the league. He's not going to make the playoffs. So one's kind of a dud, but Bryce is going to move up. Yeah. Spano had 110. Bryce finished with 145. This game is already over. Bryce had his Chiefs and his Chargers. This is what he likes to do. Also mixed in a little Mike Evans there. But Patrick Mahomes, Mike Williams, and Juju Smith Poopster highlighted there for him. And on the flip side, DJ Shark did get a little sneaky play for Spano, which was nice, 6 for 94 and a touchdown. And that's really it. Justin Herbert found 20 fantasy points with only one touchdown, which is pretty solid to do considering he had 367 passing yards. Next up, just another dud. We have the loser and the current number one seed. Andy Collins is going to take his last loss of the season to drop to 3-11. Jackson is going to get yet another win, staying in the one seed. Andy just hit the 100-point mark at 106, with Keenan Allen being his only 20-point scorer, as well as Devontae Smith had a good day, 5 for 64 and a touchdown. And that's really it there. Dawson Knox did find the end zone for him as well. And on the flip side, when you run into Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson, and DK Metcalf, it's not much you can do. You know, he's got a good squad. Somebody's gonna have to bump him off in the playoffs if we don't want to see that happen. You know, I mean, if I'm being honest, what I think is gonna happen is this isn't trying to jinx anything. This is just the truth. It's gonna be, I'm gonna lose to Soup this week or this upcoming week. Jackson and Soup is going to be the mini championship, because this is no disrespect to any other teams. Those are the two best teams that are currently in the playoffs. Do you have any?
I think Sam Smith would have had if Sam Smith would have made it.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And Derek's team continues to find a way, so I am going to highlight that.
Well,
no matter against all odds, Derek's team figures it out and they get it done.
I wonder what seed were you? Were you the number one seed when you won?
Yes, I was.
So I was number one seed.
I was kind of in Jackson's situation the year that I won, where I kind of just dominated all year. And then that was the year me and Atkins played in the championship. And Alvin Kamara, 6 touchdowns. And
almost didn't do enough.
But then he had Stephon Diggs on the Monday night game or something like that. And Stephon Diggs had like 3 touchdowns. And I ended up winning 199 to 196. I'll never forget it. Won by 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson's worried about it. And I've played fantasy for a long time in a lot of leagues. And
crazy shit happens in the playoffs.
Other people who have just known me now might think I stink. But a lot of times I make the playoffs. First time I missed the playoffs. And last year, for example, I was in 4 leagues. 3 of them I was the number 1 seed. 4th one I was the number 3 seed. I made it to semifinals in all of them and lost in all of them.
Yep.
And last year I was in
the playoffs.
I was in Jackson's. I was dominating, and then I got beat by Joe Burrow. I got beat by 2 points because Joe Burrow was on his tear by Andy. So the thing is now with Jackson is like, first of all, he doesn't have the bye. He doesn't not really have to worry about anything next week except for injuries. And then it's like whoever plays him has nothing to lose, really.
Yeah.
It's all him.
The thing that I will highlight is I know Jackson's next matchup will be week 16. Derrick Henry will be playing the Houston Texans. And we know what happens when Derrick Henry plays the Houston Texans. But keeping it rolling, this matchup did have implications. Jake Wills and Diego both trying to find a playoff spot. Jake Wills gets a commanding win at 149-95. Jared Goff with 3 touchdowns, like we mentioned. Austin Eckler also on the Soups, his only other 20-point scorer. Adam Thielen found the end zone. Brandon Ayuk found the end zone. Pat Freiermuth found the end zone. So he did have some touchdowns there. And then on the flip side, 0 20-point guys. I mean, Ryan Tannehill was his only guy to get close at 18, and TJ Hawkinson found 11.7. And Samaje Perine, his only touchdown as a position player in his flex there. So Diego will not be making the playoffs. Shout out to Jake Wills. Congratulations on making the playoffs there. Derek versus my co-host Testoni. You
can go ahead and go right through this one real quick.
Yeah, I mean, this one will be quick, Derek. It has a 2 seed locked up. You did not lose the league, but you will not be in the playoffs. Tony Pollard with 2 touchdowns, and Tyler Lockett continues to get it done. Found the end zone once again for Derek at 112. He still has Mac Jones to play as a fill-in for Justin Fields. And you're sitting at 101 while Derek's at 112, and you're finished up. I mean, you got Kirk Cousins, who had a big day. Devontae Adams on Thursday just kind of set the script for the rest of the week for you. I mean, Garrett Wilson got it done for a wide receiver 2 or flex with 13.8, but besides that,
my running back sucked. My tight end
really
sucked.
Happened for you. Yeah. And then finally, this one was the biggest matchup of the week. Points wise and just fantasy playoff implications. Sam Smith at 122 with James Conner left to play. Soup here at 154 with DeAndre Hopkins to play. So this one is pretty much wrapped up unless something crazy happens. I mean, Sam Smith, hey, he had a good week. Nothing you can say about it. A.J. Brown, Dalton Schultz both had good weeks. Christian McCaffrey had 30 points. Josh Allen found him 20 even on a bad game. But Soup's team right now is just hard to stop. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and David Njoku finally back, having a good week for him in his tight end position, which I'm sure he was delighted to see. Barring anything crazy, so that wraps that one up. Soup's going to get the win there. Barring anything crazy, I'm going to go ahead and say what the current standings will be for the playoffs. Jackson Edelman, number 1 seed. Congratulations on the bye. Derek Titanow, congratulations, number 2 seed on the bye. Atkins is going to bump up to the 3rd spot. Me and him will be tied, but he did sweep me this year. We played twice. He beat me both times. Crazy. Atkins will be in the 3 seed. I will be in the 4 seed there. In the 5th seed, I believe, will be Soup and Sammy's, as long as nothing crazy happens in that matchup, like I already mentioned. And then coming in at the rear would be Jake Wills, just because of the matchups. Him and Sam Smith will be tied, but Wills did beat Sam Smith in the regular season. So, to my understanding, those are the 6: Jackson, Derek, Atkins, me, Soup, and Wills, in that order, wraps up the playoff projections for next week. So congrats to all those guys. And shout out Andy Collins for losing the league.
There is a playoff picture. We'll be right back for Sunday recap.